Our 1970 Plymouth Barracuda convertible dream car is in assembly and under construction. So far, it's received a 392 Mopar Crate Hemi, a 5-speed Silver Sport manual transmission, and Moser Dana rear axle. After airing the installation of the factory brake system, the owner reached out to Mark and reminded him that this car is supposed to receive 4-wheel disc brakes. Immediately upon being reminded, Mark set out to do his research, which led him to Willwood Brakes. Now that we've received all the components necessary to convert this classic to 4-wheel disc brakes, Mark and Brian compare the original brake system components to the new brake system components and show how they're installed.
Now, the first thing that really jumped out at me as I was going through the parts and doing the comparison is, in the case of like the calipers, look at the size difference between an original cast iron caliper and their slick little 4-piston caliper setup. Besides the fact that it's smaller, I could tell automatically it was a lot lighter. Now, the cool thing about their calipers are they are very similar to the 66 to 69 4-piston caliper that came on when you did get disc brakes. So there's 4 individual pistons in each caliper. So I thought that was really slick. I also could tell by looking at the system that technology has come a long way since 1969 to today. And this looks much more precision. It's not that the other ones don't work fine. And if you're building an OE car to go to an OE event, you're almost going to have to stick with OE appearing stuff. But if you're building a dream car so you can drive all over the country, build it the way you want, this system looks like it will provide that for us. Now, the other thing was the rotors. You pick up an original rotor, it feels pretty heavy. You pick up theirs, it's 2 pieces. It's a little bit in the spirit of the 66 to 69 where the rotor disc would come apart from the hub. You had to press out the lug nuts back in those days. But then in 70, they went to a 1-piece rotor where you didn't have to do that. This calls back to that, where you have a replaceable rotor that is bolted into place with the Willwood hub. Now you have a 2-piece rotor that looks like 1 piece that is considerably lighter and a really trick-looking part to go on that car. The ones that I ordered utilized the large bearing 73 and up style wheel bearing because I put 73 style stock spindles on it. You can see it's all put together there with Magnum Forces front suspension. It all plays really well together. It's just that this is a different type of technology from what the car was when it left the factory. So all of the cars use some type of way to mount the caliper. In the case of the 73 and up, it uses a caliper mount. So I got out the caliper mount and I compared it to that really streamlined looking little one that they offer, which I believe is billet aluminum. I could tell it was a lot lighter and everything just so much more compact. I think it allows you a lot more room maybe for wheel choices and things like that when you're not comparing it to a big clunky original piece of cast iron. I don't want anybody at home to think I'm putting down the factory parts. I'm not. I'm just opening our eyes to the idea that this can work as long as you're understanding that the overall appearance will not be the same as the OEM stuff because of the colors, because of this type of material that it is, but it all goes on in an OE fashion. It's in the spirit of OE applications. And so I signed off on it 100% to move forward and see what it looks like on the car. This is now in a position where it's ready to go onto the spindle, just like a regular rotor would go on. So we put that right there. And then he can put that bearing on. Put your washer on. It's okay, go ahead and do your thing there. So you have a bearing, a washer, a nut, and then there's a retainer cage that's going to get a cotter pin through it.
Mm-hmm. And that's factory.
And that's the pieces.
Yeah.
He's got the spindle nut on there. We're just going to tighten that down a little bit like we would on any one that we're working on, whether it's a Willwood system or whether it's a stock system. You take that nut, what you want to do is seat that inner bearing, make sure it's seated. So you go way past it. This is way too tight. But once you do that, you've seated everything onto the spindle. You back it off just a little bit, right there, so it has just a little bit, just a little resistance on it.
Mm-hmm. There's our keeper.
Then this little cage retainer right here, this is gonna hold the nut. This is gonna have a cotter pin that's gonna go through it like this. So this will go on here like that. This will go down. This just like that. Give it a little tap love through there.
I have side cutters.
All right, there you go. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this one out and roll it up to here, like that. Tap that around to there. Clip this other end off here, like that. And now we can put that on there, run that down, Greg. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Look at that.
A cool thing that I would like to point out is you see us putting the spindle cap in place on the new rotors. It's a screw-on style. It's machined aluminum and it has threads in it, and so does that hub. So on the original setups, you have a steel cup that we've built these little tools for it, little tubular shaped things that'll drive them in. But you've seen us many times over the years drive those on. You tap them into place. This, once you have everything set, you just screw it into place, give it a little tighten, and you're done. So it makes it more serviceable down the road. All right, so here's our caliper, which is just adorable.
Yeah.
I love this thing. I did the same thing. I compared this to an original caliper.
Okay.
Now, a note here is in 1969 and earlier, if you had a B body or an A body with disc brakes, it had a 4-piston caliper.
Okay.
In this case, they've done the same thing. If you look carefully in here, you'll see that they had 1, 2, 3, 4 pistons. They used the brake pads, just like the other system would. Just a really clean setup. We've got our hoses gonna go in here.
Yep.
This is our bleeder screw.
There's actually 4 of them.
Oh, 4 individual bleeders, which is much better. I love that.
So when this sits straight up, we will bleed the top 2. That's
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
And so there's one more thing to show, and that is that they want a certain number of shims between here and the mounting plate, just like that. So what they want is these 2 shims right here to space this caliper back. You've already pre-fit this,
Yeah,
right?
pre-fitted. We always start with 2, and then we watch to see where our bolt ends up. As long as it's not sticking out past the clinch, that's what they call it. And then you can add different amounts of washers as needed.
So this just goes on here like this. All right, so we got 1 bolt started. That'll be a little easier now. Make sure that thing keeps moving. We want it to move, right?
Absolutely.
All right. And the other ones are here
Repeat.
and here. Okay. This goes down in here like this, folks. Has some pressure up against them to hold them in place. Take the bolt, push it through there with any luck. And now we can run those down.
Yep.
Once we have this caliper mounted and in place, the only thing left we're gonna have is the connection of the hose. And we're only gonna show you guys how this thing goes together on one side, because the other side's an identical twin to it.
Yep. Symmetrical.
Huh? Symmetrical, sure, we can use that word, Mr. Teacher Man. Symmetrical. What does asymmetrical mean?
It means that they're not the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you had, for example, a bowling ball.
Or me and Will.
Well, yeah, you and Will. You're definitely asymmetrical.
What the hell do I have to do with brakes? I don't work on them. I don't know them. There's no reason for my name to come up during a brake job in assembly, other than Mark to insult me, put me down, his normal routine.
Okay. Last thing to talk about is this little connection here. This is so cool. I compared this to an original.
Yeah.
This just is a really clean setup. It's braided line. It's got a rubber protector over the outside of it. Simply goes on like that right there.
It's actually an AN fitting there.
You got your wrench handy there.
Should be that one.
All right, we tighten that bad boy down right there. Make sure we got it right.
Beautiful.
That's tight. And now we have our 2-piece rotor setup, our caliper mount, our new Willwood caliper, and a later model, really cool front disc brake setup.
I'm curious
that,
to hear
folks,
those
is what our
numbers.
Willwood front looks like. We are going to move to the back now, which is really where the changes come in, because we are now going to have, instead of rear drum brakes
Right.
from the factory, we are converting it to a disc brake.
Brakes. Yep.
Rear. Let's have a look. when the hard stuff comes, because of my carpal tunnel and dead dad, I'll be over here narrating everything.
Okay.
But this is a typical, we could put any axle in the world that we want to put in here right now. We're just going to be putting the Mosier axle in with the Willwood brake setup.
Yep.
So let's just talk about a couple things real quick here. Very, very nice. Number one is you'll notice that these brakes, this is a very narrow brake on the back, and you think, boy, that's unsafe. What's going on there? Because it's not stopping the car anymore. All this is a park brake. The park brake goes inside the rotor, which is super cool. And then this will have a rotor on it, which will have our 4-piston caliper on there. So it's a really neat setup. You've got your plate, which has all your brake stuff on it, your brake springs, your shoes, everything's on it. Your bearings, obviously already pressed on here. You got your caliper mount already bolted into place, so we'll be able to load up our caliper mount when we're done here. Boom, 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 all those pieces. Park brake goes here. But this is the gist of how this crazy thing goes. So with that, I'll slide it in there. Take all the glory for that. Go all the way to here. Walk it into the spider gears. And I will let you take over from there.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm going to step over here. Keep you guys entertained.
I'm going to do a little
while
work
he
here.
is bolting that brake plate in place. So the principle behind this system follows the original suit. You've got a backing plate. We have backing plates too, but our backing plates that would hold the shoes are much bigger, way more. And again, it's not only a parking brake on an original car, but it's the main brakes in the back of the car. So yes, this has a backing plate. We have a backing plate. This has rear shoes. Ours had rear shoes on it. But what we never had was the disc brake feature on it. So the process he's going through, he has to take that stud and hold it in place, get the axle seated in, then the retainer, the collar that's going to hold the axle into the housing, has to go on far enough that he can get a nut. Once he gets the 5 nuts started, it's just a matter of running them down. How are we doing over there?
Got 1 nut started.
Because this takes a little bit of time and patience, and he gets very nervous around the cameras, we're going to cut. And the next time we pick back up, that's going to be all bolted down, and we're going to move on to, which one's my love camera? Move on to mounting the rotor in place, and after that, the caliper, and then making the connection at the hose, and we will have installed our first Willwood 4-wheel disc brake system.
Correct.
Now we have our axle all mounted in there. You have everything torqued down. It's not easy, is it? One
It's a bit of
guy.
a challenge, yeah.
Feel like a surgeon, you know how surgeons do? Scalpel.
Your rotor, sir.
All right, rotor.
Hold on. We need one thing before that.
What's your job?
Huh?
You're supposed to be telling me these things. Oh,
I'm
yes,
telling
there
you,
are these
this
little cool
guy.
things.
Yeah.
So what do they call these?
It's a rotor registration ring.
Okay, so what they're wanting to make sure is that this hole is centered on that axle. So they make this registration ring that would go like this, am I correct?
That's correct.
It would go through from the back and fit like that.
Yep. And that needs to precisely fit on our axle.
So it fits on here.
Yep.
But the other cool thing is, remember those brake shoes that I showed you guys right here? They're going to go here, inside. It's going to be right here that it expands out and all the brake work is done, while the caliper pinches it here. Very kind of
It's
a
very cool.
2-in-1, yeah.
So find a larger hole.
Multiple bolt holes right here. This is the one that we're going to go into. So this will go on here like that. And go ahead and put a retaining nut on there if you'd like to.
I would like 3 of them,
You'd like 3 retaining nuts, okay.
as per the Willwood instructions.
As per the They come with instructions?
Yeah.
I wouldn't read them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm involved where I am now. Just come in and take some of the glory for it. All right, so the next thing, now that we have our rotor on and our axle with our backing plate and all our stuff, we're ready to put the caliper on.
Absolutely.
So hand me a rear caliper.
Okay.
Does that get shims too?
Same thing as the front. Yep.
Same thing as the front. All right.
It's a little different. It doesn't have the Mickey Mouse look to it, see?
Yep, doesn't have the Mickey Mouse ears.
A little different.
Sometimes Mickey Mouse can be a term that when you refer to something not being engineered very well, that it's Mickey Mouse together or butchered. He's referring to Mickey Mouse, the character with the ears. If you look at the 66 to 69 pads and hold them up, disc brake pads, they have little Mickey Mouse ears on them. They're adorable. You know, hold it up to your little face and got little ears. Looks just like it. So that's what I mean by Mickey Mouse. Not that the system's Mickey Mouse. It ain't Mickey Mouse. The original Mickey Mouse. Isn't there an original cartoon that just become public domain?
Steamboat Willie.
Roll that cartoon if we're short on time. Roll that cartoon. Steamboat Willie. You gotta use it for free and fill up a minute and a half of my show. Don't put that in. No. Right, so this is gonna go on here like this. Into position. This goes in here. All right, bolt. Okay, ratchet.
Yeah.
And this other one, I think you gave me the wrench for. Is that right?
This one here.
Okay.
That one's for the brake line.
All right. Okay, that is tight.
Okay.
So the only thing I have left, folks, is the line, which is exactly the same as the front line.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make that connection right here. And that, folks, is how you convert a rear axle to disc brakes.
Drum to disc.
Just to take a disc brake. Did I say drum?
No. Convert from drum to disc, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't use the right vernacular, Mr. Teacher Man. Just one thing to point out here for everybody is take a look at how sanitary it is. It's a Dana rear end. This is an original inline tube that we modified to work with their flexible brake lines. And these collars are the trickiest things. No welding, where we normally would have to weld. These take the place of welding bracket holders. These are the holder for the lines, but they just screw on and they do not damage the paint. It is just super sanitary. This is an original distribution block. Everything is really nice for this system. All we have left now is to put the master cylinder on and bleed them out, right?
That's it.
All right,
Yeah.
let's get it done. So once we had the right side completely done, there was no reason for me to walk through it all with Brian. I just cut him loose to do that. It's the exact same thing. It's a mirror image of it on the other side. One thing that I would like to make a note of is, as I keep referring to things being lighter and more compact, I was really curious to see just some of the key components like the rotor, the caliper, the mount. What would they weigh differently than an OEM one? So I did just that. I got our little stamps scale out and I weighed these things. And this is interesting now, so pay attention. So the first thing I weighed was the caliper. The original 69 style cast iron caliper weighed 14 pounds, 1.2 ounces. The Willwood weighed a total of 3 pounds, 2.2 ounces. About 11 pounds difference right there, just in one part, folks. I weighed the front rotors. That one-piece Marianne original factory cast iron rotor weighed 23 pounds, 2.2 ounces. And weighing in the middleweight class was the Willwood two-piece aluminum at 12 pounds, 7.2 ounces. That is 10.5 pound difference. Just look at the weight difference just on one front axle. Now you go to the back and we have the same thing going on. We have a one-piece drum which weighed 16 pounds, 13.8 ounces. That's the factory weight. Against the new slick Willwood version with the parking brake built into it at 11 pounds, 2/10 of an ounce. That's almost a 6 pound difference. So that's somewhere around 27, maybe even as much as 30 pounds by the time you put the rest of the pieces on that I didn't weigh. 30 pounds on one axle in the front. Right front's 30, right rear's 30, so that's 120 pounds. That's, you add in the rest of the pieces, you know. This is like when you kick your friend out who's a little bit overweight, but if you knew you were gonna race somebody, you kicked the 150 pounder out of the car. That is horsepower to weight. Very important thing in drag racing, but you'd always come back around and pick them up. Usually you'd made it over to Bob's for the 19-cent hamburgers by that time, ironically. But in the end, the point is these really were a much lighter and more streamlined looking system. If you're going to a show, an OE event, original equipment, you would not want these on your car. If you're driving it every day and want that comfort of that disc brake calling out to you like in Tommy Boy, you're guaranteed to stop. It's okay. That's the system to go with. So after Brian was finished installing everything, I actually had a meeting to run to. And so I left him to put the master cylinder on. But when it first showed up, I did a comparison with it, just like I did with all the other parts. And I will say that is a pretty trick setup. It's an aluminum housing versus a cast iron. It's great looking.
We're actually going to mate this new Wilwood master cylinder up against the original factory brake booster. It's just going to slide right in there. And we're going to fasten it with 4 nuts.
It's a very well-engineered system that I highly recommend now. And I think that as we do more and more of the dream car builds and people see this, they're going to be requesting it. So I have no problem putting it on if I know that it's a safe system, and as long as they understand it doesn't look 100% like the one that the factory did. If that's not your goal, this is the way to go.
Torque those down.
The reason I say it, the appearance doesn't matter to everybody, is we all know a 1970 Cuda never left the factory with a 392, 485 horsepower engine. At the end of the day, you've got a car that has aftermarket transmission and engine in it. Now you have aftermarket brakes, but when you look at the car going down the road and you walk up to it at a car show, if that hood's closed, you think you have a 100% OEM 1970 Plymouth Cuda convertible, an FE5 Rally Red. That's what we do at Graveyard Cars. They're called dream cars because that's what I do, is I bring dreams to life. The Dream Maker.
Okay, so the last thing I have to do here is I have my brake lines ready to go. I need to tighten those in and screw those into the proportioning valve, which I'll do right down here. And once I have those lines tightened in place, and Mark gets back from whatever errands he's running, we'll be able to bleed these brakes and have this system ready to go.
Hello ghouls, Mark Warman here, the Ice Tray from Graveyard Cars. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. We have fantastic stuff coming up, and some of it you've never seen before. I gotta go insult people. Hey Alice!